Oh my god, it's already that much warmer in here.
Yeah.
I hate everything.
Well, here we go.
All right.
It's about to get real hot, Ames.
It's like we're in the forge.
Because Jeffrey Combs is going to show up. Hello and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, your favorite Star Trek podcast. My name is Caitlin, and with me today are...
Jake?
Chris?
And Ames. Yes,
You
that's
sure?
correct. Your name is Jake.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm very sure.
No, I meant him.
No, he doesn't know.
Oh.
And we're here today for episode 359.
Ooh.
And I believe that's correct.
That is correct.
Ooh, go me. 359, when we are going to be talking about Kir'Shara
Sure.
and Daedalus. Is that right? What is it? Kir'Shara.
Kir'Shara.
Honestly, like I've had so much
Kir'Shara, yeah.
difficulty remembering like what it actually is because it sounds a lot like Kir'Shara, who's the guy that was just elected PM of UK. So I'm like,
That's fair.
Kir'Shara, it's fine. Kir'Shara, yes. All right. Well, Kir'Shara. Really, what can one say about Kir'Shara? I could summarize it in one word, and that is Romulans.
What? Are they back?
No, they're not back.
Oh, damn.
They're here.
For
Because I think
reasons.
chronologically this may be the first time we've seen them, exclamation?
Yeah, chronologically, we've seen one of them in person. We have seen one of their ships in Minefield?
Yeah,
Well,
they got-
I stand by what I've said, and also I'm a little bit disappointed in the no reaction whatsoever to my poltergeist joke.
I got the joke. I like
Oh,
Yeah, well,
I
you
don't.
didn't-
I don't get the
Well,
reference.
this
so.
is a audio medium, Jake. So if you just go,
Nod,
it doesn't.
nod,
It tells
frown,
nobody anything.
sad.
Nothing.
My
all right.
Zoom froze up in the middle of it. Like, I figured that's what you were saying, because you told me.
Yeah, I always pre
Test.
test my jokes on Chris.
Mm.
And he
But the only
lies.
thing we were
And he
missing is,
lies
like-
and tells me they're hilarious.
All
should
we
definitely
needed
tell
was
that one.
for T'Pau to come out after the Romulans left and go, "This house is clean."
See, when she texted me, she misspelled T'Pau T''POW, which I
Yeah.
think
I
would
like
be
it.
a great name for a Vulcan wrestler.
Nice.
It's her Vulcan wrestler name. And
Yeah.
they're like, well, it's obviously not that T'Pau. I mean, she wouldn't make it so obvious.
That's what pops up on the screen whenever she punches someone. It just goes to
Yes.
pow.
Yep. That Chris
I said
that.
that
It'd be
too.
a good Batman thing.
I know. I'm sad it's
To
Batman.
pow,
It's
to
always
zap.
Batman.
See, I was
Son
gonna-
of a bitch.
Everything
I was-
always comes back to Batman.
I was gonna not bring it up for you, Ames, but then you did it.
I wasn't gonna say it was Batman and let it general be a general comic thing, but it damn it, fuck.
Well, I guess we could say it might have been a Deadpool thing. Does Deadpool do that?
What happened in this episode?
Yeah,
Do you
sorry.
remember?
Honestly,
Not
I don't
much.
know. Basically, Shran did a lot of torture to Saval.
Ouch.
Hot.
And it
Ouch.
wasn't just like physical torture, it was like emotional torture, which brought on some of the worst acting I have ever seen in my life.
From which one?
Yes. No, mostly from Saval, honestly. Like, just like at one point his like eyes are rolling. I was like, sir, you're being tortured. You don't have rabies. Like, what the fuck
But
are
it's
you doing?
emotional torture.
Well, not rabies. I don't know. Maybe more like scabies than rabies. It's disgusting. So yeah, so Shran does him a torture because he doesn't trust him, even though he's traveled all the way across the galaxy to warn him that the Vulcans are gonna do them a surprise attack. Meanwhile, Archer is still dressed like Indiana Jones and like fucking, lost arcing it through the desert tunnels, and T'Pol gets captured and they're gonna send her to the High Council. We gotta, the other Vulcans, that is, from the Serenites, they gotta rescue T'Pol. I don't know. It does. I feel like Mayweather and Hoshi each got like 2 lines.
Wait, I didn't even notice. They were in this episode?
There was a space battle and they
Oh,
got to
man.
talk a little bit. Yep.
I missed them
Yeah,
entirely.
those lines.
They were a
About
blip.
it was around the 18-minute mark, I would say, somewhere around there. I was like, wow, Mayweather's talking, and then like 2 seconds later, Hoshi's talking?
It's a
Mayweather's talking again?
It's a red letter fucking day on Enterprise.
Yep. And no, wait, that's next episode. Fuck me. I was about to be like, and someone died, but that's next episode. Damn it! We almost had Enterprise bingo. What else happens? The Vulcan Council, they're finally catching on that the head douchebag in charge is being a very naughty boy and not telling them all the truth. So I think, in fact, is it one of the council that actually takes him down?
Yeah, Kuvok.
Yeah.
We like him.
And
he sounds like Tuvok.
It does sound like Tuvok.
Maybe
I thought you said
Tuvok's
Tuvok.
dad. We don't know.
That's it. I don't know. They stop the crazy councilman from doing an attack. The Andorians are able to not get their ass kicked. Saval will make a full recovery from his emotional torture because Shran makes sure to let us know that if I push it to 11, you'll never be the same. But his antennae are, they show his hesitation and his sadness because he and Suval are good friends.
Great antenna acting.
And actually we did have a really cool moment where T'Pol is talking to T'Pau about how she was like forced into a meld one time. So it kind of seems like they sort of now understand that what they did to her was kind of fucked up.
Who's the they? The writers?
Yes, the writers.
I mean, I think they always knew it was fucked up.
Well, let me put it a different way. Maybe now they care?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that it comes up, now after not really having been addressed for 3 seasons. Yeah.
Well, now they need a melder. Oh, that's right. And they need a melder because they have to get, what's his name's
Sirach.
stuff. Sirach's, his Katra, and apparently also the Bible out of John's head.
No, the Bible is in that little
triangle
pyramid thing. That's the Kir'Shara. The Kir'Shara is that thing.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
But it's like a little computer with all the writing in it.
It's a stone computer.
Yeah.
A Vulcan shit.
Is that any weirder than an Apple computer, really?
Bah.
But what kind of apple?
So you remind me...
Honeycrisp.
Pink Lady.
Ooh, how about Jazz?
Those are good.
Yeah, but Honeycrisp and Pink Ladies are the best.
Chris just a Drez hands, great.
Reminded me, though, of an extraordinarily funny joke I meant to drop last week and forgot.
Let me tell you a funny joke.
But we're still in the same 3-parter, so it counts. At one point, the evil Vulcan head was like, comb the desert. And I was like, oh man, they gotta cut to Tuvok's ancestor being like, we have not found shit, sir.
Ah, okay. All right, I like that.
Oh, and I forgot, too, at the end, T'Pol's husband, whose name I can't remember.
Koss.
I don't need to remember. He's done. Because he's like, I release you from our marriage. And T'Pol's like, cool, now I can go get that good dick again on the Enterprise.
Yeah, the whole end of this episode is, I need that, but maybe now I do actually need that was easy button, because everything gets cleaned up super quickly.
I was going to say, divorce on Vulcan is super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, but what's interesting to me is, like, what is the motivation for Koss to let her out? Because he was the one that wanted to force the marriage.
Well, maybe he realized that he wasn't going to get access to that sweet, sweet Vulcan lady ass, and he decided he'd rather marry somebody who's going to be closer by.
Maybe.
And also, without her mom, who was like kind of a big deal, and then was kind of like a baddie. Well, not really a baddie, but like a cast out of society. Like, maybe she's just tainted now. And he's like, I should marry a nice young lady in good standing with Vulcan and, get laid.
Vulcan's been upended, if anything. If the cards land right, her mother's now a hero.
Yeah, she's going to be seen as a real trailblazer, standing up against the wicked high command.
That's really what it comes down to.
Then I revert back to my original theory, which is he wants to get laid from time to time.
Yeah, well, like, Vulcan's about to go to Crazy Town. I'm sure Vulcan Tinder's about to explode. Like, they don't know exactly what's next. Either their society's about to flourish, or it's about to implode, or, like, it's weird times on Vulcan.
Yeah, they make it out like, oh, everything's going to change for the better, because now we've got Sirach's actual teachings. And I'm like, sitting here like, dudes, if we suddenly found a new Bible from Jesus or some shit, like, with his signature at the bottom, with hearts and stars around it and shit.
Jesus famously made dots over his eyes. Yeah, it's the Holy Bible with a little heart.
No Christians would listen to it if it contradicted anything they currently believe in.
Tell that to the Mormons.
No matter how many hearts and stars.
That's literally the story of the Mormons.
Yeah, that's there are 90% of
we found this new Bible written by Jesus, and the Christians are like, yeah, fuck off with that shit.
But 90% of Utah would tell you that they buy it. They're in. Or 70%.
They were the few. They were the Oh man.
The few, the proud, and the strong.
Is that what this whole thing has been an allegory for? Is like Joseph Smith? Is that who
are the Zealots the salamander?
The Cyrenites just Vulcan Mormons?
Sadly, no, because I know that Manny Cotto wrote this whole spiel thing kind of with this metaphor for the Protestant Revolution or Reformation in mind, in which T'Pau is Martin Luther and Velas is the Antichrist and all this shit.
Martin Luther didn't know sweet kung fu.
You don't know.
That's not where I thought you were going. I wasn't sure where you were going, but that's not where I saw it landing somehow.
Yeah, and the Kir'Shara has been compared to the Nag Hammadi Library, which I started looking into, but it's boring, so I stopped.
Excellent.
Yeah, I guess in Egypt they found these scrolls, these texts or something of new religious nonsense, including, I have the page up, including this new gospel from Thomas. And I didn't read the full article. I'm sure it's relevant somehow.
And they didn't buy it? Would you say they were doubting Thomas?
Well, there's
That's right.
Well, there's all this there's all of this Christian apocrypha that is like additional gospel, like the Gospel of Thomas and like other writings.
Well, isn't the rapture all apocryphal as well?
I think that's in Revelation.
Yeah, that is there. I think like there are aspects of it that the evangelicals follow that they kind of made up.
Yeah, there's a lot of made up shit, but the apocrypha stuff, like the Gospel of Thomas, was all like basically exactly what Kodo is saying. Is that like, yeah, they found this stuff, and the Catholic Church was like, and it contradicted a lot of the Catholic Church doctrine.
Yeah, don't get me started on the Gospel of Mary.
This is just forgeries. This isn't real.
Yeah, the original like canon obsessed douchebags are the Catholic Church.
Canon.
I mean, that is why that's where we get the word. Like it's now applied to fandoms, but biblical canon was the origin of that term.
Yeah, and they were the ones that got to decide what it was. It's like, okay, cool, you guys are great.
Yeah, they are the original neckbeard gatekeeping fuck faces that were mad about women in Star Wars.
And a black guy.
That's why Mary Magdalene wound up as just like a stupid whore, because they were dudes and they were like, well, we can't have this.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, probably. Also, like, Jesus can't be fucking a dumb hoe.
Look, we all know Jesus' little gospel was with his signature. It was specifically Mr. Jesus Iscariot. That's the one they really don't want you to know about.
Ah, wow.
With the hearts.
They were married?
No, like Jesus, like a teenage... He just,
like, scribbled their initials all over the notebook. Like, Judas loves Jesus, with a big heart around it.
Oh,
and
no,
strangely, the thing you would find the most often, actually, is you would find Jesus written with, like, that S thing that we all used to draw.
There you go.
Badass S. Yeah, nice.
Two of them. Jesus got two.
Yeah.
Why did we love that S so much?
Jesus and Judas, right? But the S is the same big S thing at the end.
Oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go, because it's big. Yep, I like it.
Yeah, that's it. We've done it.
Yeah, so really what I'm saying is the Vulcans should be basically falling into civil war right now.
Yeah, no, it's not...
Cool.
Well, except, they're so measured, like, their civil war would be very civil.
They're not very... Did you see Velas? Okay, answer me this, anyone in shouting distance. What the fuck was Velas's motivation this whole three-parter?
He was a Romulan plant. Was
he Romulan or was he working for Romulans?
He was working for the Romulans.
These guys, so basically...
Well, then why,
These guys were...
Well, he says it. They say it at the end. He was working towards the unification of Vulcan and Romulus.
Yeah, he's trying to do what Spock wants to do later, just from the other direction.
And how does getting into a war with Andorians help that?
It weakens Vulcan so that the Romulans can just kind of...
Oh, they want the Romulans to take over.
They want... Yeah, exactly. Well, the Romulans want to take over, and Vlas is their puppet.
Is cool with that. He's a madman, this Vlas. I don't like him.
And the Romulan... And remember, these are Romulans, so it doesn't have to make sense why they want to have a war with Andorra, because...
It's the Romulans.
It's just a fucking Romulan plot. The actual payoff won't be for decades.
My boys.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so that the fans who say, oh, that's like what Spock was doing, and then they jizz.
It's like what Spock was doing, only like needlessly convoluted.
Like a Romulan plan.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I do wish that they had introduced the Todd Stashwick character in the previous
He's just
episodes.
Shaw.
Because he
So they
shows
did.
up here, and it's like, okay, there's Todd Stashwick, and
Looking fine, by the way.
Wait,
and, like,
where
they
the
should
fuck
have
was
intro-
Todd Stashwick?
he was the
he- the-
Romulan.
He was Haylock.
No
the Romulan.
shit! Wow, I gotta look at a picture.
He's
I
quite,
do
he's quite
too,
young.
because I don't know who we're talking about. Talok, Talok?
He
Yes.
was the Romulan at the end, and he was the guy that Velas sent after T'Pol and Archer.
Yeah,
And
he,
and
supposedly he was T'Pol's student or something once.
subordinate or something. But anyway, the point, like, yeah, I don't know. I wish that they just introduced this character earlier in like the 3-parter, as opposed to just like, oh, he showed up now and now he's a thing.
Oh my god,
wait,
this
is
him.
that guy. That's
this is
hot.
Shaw from
Oh my
Picard.
god. Well, I think he's gotten. I think he's aged like a fine wine. I'm not sure that I'm as into him as a young man, but he's
Well, the tricky part
damn
is
good looking.
almost no one looks good with a Vulcan haircut. He might have looked much more attractive with his normal hair back then.
Mm.
It also, like, I did not catch at all that was him at the end as the Romulan and as the Vulcan dude. Like, that was not at all
Oh shit!
clear.
Yeah, they did a lousy job wrapping that up, and I also read that they nearly cut that scene where it's revealed that he's Romulan, and I guess they just would have just ended the episode with a Velas was crazy, I guess.
That's
but
almost
they
worse.
also they
Yeah,
cut
but
it for
it
budget.
could-
They were going to cut it for budget because they didn't want to have to like, cast another actor until they just decided let's just let it be Talok because we've already got Todd Stashwick.
Yeah, I mean, that like, it makes sense in that way, but I wish they'd made it plainer. It was, because, like, he's already got his Romulan forehead back and shit, so it's, like, not obvious that...
It should, you know what it should have been? It would have made some things make more sense, but it would have, just made everything else more convoluted if it was Kos. If Kos was the Romulan the whole time.
Oh, the
That's the thing, I would
the guy who was leading the crazy charge.
I would
Oh,
seriously
no,
not
the
have
husband.
recognized him though.
The husband.
Whoa!
If he was trying to, if the whole marriage was like a ploy to get in with the Sirenites because they knew that,
Once
the
again,
Sirenites
Jake
were,
is a better Star Trek writer than the writers of Star Trek.
Because, yeah, and that would make the divorce make sense because it's like, oh, he's not divorcing her because, he's divorcing her because he's going back to Romulus.
Yep.
Back to his handlers.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm so unimpressed with Kos in general, and he's also the blandest looking man that if you showed me a lineup of men, I'd be like, any of them could be Kos. I have no idea.
It would just be him 6 times, and you still wouldn't be able to pick him out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't.
Also, I thought it was stupid how Archer says, to Pow is like, okay, we need to beam into the high command. And Archer's like, I know someone who could do that for us. And then they just show up, and then later it's revealed that it's Kos that helped them.
Yeah, like...
So
in.
did Archer ask? Archer
So, yeah,
must, because
like,
T'Pol wasn't
Archer
there.
know? Does Archer doesn't know Kos?
I didn't
They've
think
never
so,
met.
yeah.
Kos? No.
If somebody, here's the thing, they could have neatly tied this into the next episode by being like, I know a guy, and he brings on teleporter man.
Ha!
Oh, see, I thought you were going to say Shran.
Oh, well, no, I meant the dude that comes to fuck with the transporter.
Yeah,
I'm
I
already
assumed
there.
it was going to be Soval, but then you realize, okay, Soval is out on the Enterprise battling Andorians right now.
Yeah.
He's still in a coma. They said it would be, or whatever. They said it was going to take him like a day to.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Archer
so-
wouldn't have known that.
Shran,
Not true.
how bummed was Shran? Like, the Enterprise shows up, Saval tries hailing, and he's like, yeah, fuck off. So then Trip calls, like, Saval, Shran, it's us. And he's like, oh, it's John! Where's John?
My favorite little pink skin.
He was
Yeah, they
so
never
sad.
they never get to see each other. And granted, I'm sure they're
What a
also still
waste.
mad at each other over the whole Xindi weapon thing. Which the Vulcans were right. The Andorians were going to attack them with Xindi weapons. They just, lost it.
Yeah, and I think Shran already forgave and forgot that. I feel like Shran wants to be a good guy, but like the Andorian government are kind of warmongery, and he feels like he has to do the good soldier thing, like, steal the Xindi weapon or torture Saval. So yeah, he needs to start standing up for himself and not do bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he was actually pissed that Archer destroyed the weapon. I think
No, if anything, he was just
relieved that Archer destroyed the weapon.
Well, and he was more worried that Archer was still going to be mad at him for the duplicity and stuff, you know? He was, like, already with, like, a big, like, I'm sorry, John, like, Hallmark card.
Yay. It's got little dingly boppers on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a pop-up. It's a pop-up card.
Like, Andorians draw cartoon hearts just like humans, but they've got the antennae.
Oh, that's cute. I want
love that.
one. So that's the thing that bothers me about Shran this episode is we state up and down, torture doesn't work. Torture never works. It's a bad thing and you shouldn't do it. And, you know, granted, Archer can do it because it's okay because any means necessary. But Soval literally says to Shran, if you torture me, it won't work. And he's like, no, this is a new kind of torture. It looks exactly like normal torture, Soval. Okay, cool. Good luck with this. And still, even though, like, this torture is totally going to work because it's against Vulcan, it's the new Vulcan torture, Shran still doesn't believe him for fucking hours. What are we getting out of this torture?
Shran's like, oh, I really hate doing this.
What we're getting out of this is padding this to a 3-parter. This is like...
That's true.
This is the 70 arguments between Sung and Malik a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
This is like...
We need another scene.
This episode, this 3-parter maybe had, like, enough material for a 2-parter, whereas I think the Augment one was like, they maybe had enough for an episode and a quarter? Like... But this still did not need to be 3 parts.
Well, yeah, but if you had Brent Spiner, wouldn't you stretch it into a 3-parter?
I'd have found a better fucking way to
season.
do it.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, I'm just saying the having the urge at least is correct. You know?
Yeah, but
I would have just added Brent Spiner's character to the main cast as the new Doctor.
Helmsman. Doctor, yes, good.
Oh no, Phlox got finnied.
good. I mean, no, good. I mean that, but there's no joke.
Yeah, no,
there,
good.
Good. Or just like, I don't know, he's just some fucking new engineer, anything.
One nice thing about this 3-parter, though, Phlox wasn't around very much.
True.
Very little, yeah. I mean, so
which really, that's honestly,
but that's normal.
Totally sucks for him though, because that means he sat in like makeup for however many hours just to be like,
one scene.
Soval will make a full recovery tomorrow.
That's just his face, Caitlin. How dare you?
Well, that's so unfortunate.
That's
for
the
so
thing.
many reasons.
I assume if you're a principal, like, you've got a contract, so like, really for him, it's great. It's like, I'm getting paid the same amount no matter how many days I'm in.
Probably right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was actually surprised when Reed got a scene. I was like, oh yeah, Reed's here.
Don't you mean when Reed made a scene?
Truth. When he's talking with Trip, and it seemed entirely out of character, like these characters should have been flip-flopped, when Reed is like, oh, Trip, do you think you're doing what the captain would have wanted and going and helping Andorians? And Trip's like, yes, this is exactly what I'm just following the Archer handbook right now. Let me get you in the torture chair.
Here's the flow chart, like, I feel like to do like what Archer would do, Trip had to like think of the most logical thing and then do the opposite.
Well, no,
yes, help Shran. What? Why?
Because we don't like Vulcans. And maybe we've been right the whole time because apparently they're being run by dicks.
Well, there's one
a dick,
Well, yes, but one dick.
Single dick.
A one dick that everyone was going like, yeah, why not? Sure.
Yeah, that's bizarre to me. Like, as we're watching the season, I keep thinking it in the back of my mind at some point, we're going to do our blogtivity where we pick our favorite villains from this show. I'm like, Velas, okay, here's a new villain. How do I like him? He's terrible. He's the shittiest villain. He has no motivation. He's only evil. There's no reason for him to be what the hell he is.
Wait.
The reason is revealed in the final scene.
I thought you were talking about Vlas, not John.
I was gonna say, I think my favorite villains from this show, it's gonna be Archer.
Yeah, but he's not my favorite anything. I hate him. I hate the man.
I know.
Archer's not fun to hate. And sorry, Jake, I talked over you to make my hilarious joke. But yes, his motivation comes, as you said, at the 11th hour, and you're like, oh, what?
Yeah, it's a damn good thing they didn't cut that scene, because otherwise it would make no sense why Velas does what he does.
But keeping that scene, didn't we just... Everyone nabbed Velas and said, you were doing a bad thing. And throw him in jail?
He made bail.
Yeah, no, they
Arg!
just said he was relieved of his post, and they were investigating.
And they didn't put an ankle cuff on him or anything? Come on.
Right?
I mean,
He's going
here's
and
the thing.
talking with known criminals?
So he's still got some pull on Vulcan, I guess, even though he's a piece of shit.
That, I mean, unfortunately, is just hyper realistic. This guy was very powerful for a very long time. He will likely get away with it. That's just the real fucking world, you know?
Although I do love the Romulan, like, he's like, okay, you're going to take me back to Romulus with you, right?
Yeah.
Right?
It's that Kieran. It's that Anakin and Padme
Yeah.
meme. Like,
That's a good one.
All right, well, we've been found out, but you're going to take me back to Romulus, right? But you're going to take me back to Romulus, right?
Alternately, it's just Todd Stashwick. No.
There you go. So we've got Archer's got Surak's consciousness, or Katra, or what have you. It doesn't really, aside from him saying, "Oh, I suddenly understand Vulcans, and maybe I'll be less racist to them," and then he's immediately racist again.
Well, what's really dumb about all that, too, is like...
No, it is the kids who are wrong.
Maybe I understand Vulcans a little better now. But then at the end, it's just like, everything you ever said about us was right.
Yeah.
Arg! God
We're
damn
learning
it,
the wrong
Archer.
lessons.
I hate it.
I think, the implication that what we were supposed to get from that is, I understand Vulcans better, but the reason I hated Vulcans is because the ones that were running the show were actually not true Vulcans. They were assholes.
Yeah.
Romulans
but still,
in disguise.
It's like I was actually right is still the lesson Archer gets to walk away
Always.
with.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was right to dislike Vulcans because the ones that I've always been dealing with were pieces of shit, despite Saval being the key one that he's dealt with most of the time.
And he's coming around, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, but he used to be a big dick.
Well, his whole thing was, again, like
we
said last week, his reasoning was just like, these guys remind me of us, and we were dicks, so we've got to be extra careful, which when you think about it that way
sounds
is
like the Romulans were dicks and they left.
the
We're
Romulans
all cool.
are the best. They're
Okay.
idiots, but they're the best. I didn't need them. Don't get me wrong, I didn't need them here.
No.
Like, this is dumb. In all other respects, I need to stand up for my boys.
I did like that he was wearing the old TOS style Romulan suit at the end.
That was not the oh God, oh Jake, oh you poor sweet thing. It
wasn't. It wasn't. It was the fabric, the color of the fabric.
It was pulled from Nemesis, which makes
it?
no sense.
I thought it was one of the Nemesis jackets. To be honest,
it was the Nemesis coat, which is 200 years in their future, which makes no sense.
But the colors, the blocks of color on it.
The colors,
Duke. The colors.
The colors. That was a TOS thing, wasn't
it?
I mean, they always had the block, because the original had blocks because it was like
yeah, but the TNG uniforms all had just gray blocks.
Honestly, whenever Romulans are on screen, I just picture them like Minecraft characters that are just big blocky things. Like I didn't notice the costumes at all. I just assumed that's what they still look like.
I gotta find a picture of like the TOS because I could have sworn that was like the style of the fabric in the TOS.
Well, I think it's because in Nemesis when they designed the shit that we saw like Donatra wearing, they used like the visual reference of the normal shit that we're used to from Romulans, but modernized it for the movie.
Oh no, I'm just totally wrong because in TOS they have that like
there's a blue one, there's a pink one.
They have like that sparkly kind of fabric.
No,
I'm just totally wrong. I guess I'm just remembering the Nemesis costumes as TOS.
You might be thinking Klingons.
No, honestly though,
maybe.
looking at a screen cap from Balance of Terror, like the base shirt under the sashes, there is sort of I don't know what color it actually was, but there is almost a coppery quality.
Yeah, like a metallic-y looking thing.
That the Nemesis...
So I just don't know what I'm talking about.
No, but the Nemesis...
Just ignore me.
The Nemesis coats do kind of have a vaguely coppery tinge, so I can see... You're not coming completely out of left field, I would argue.
Although I think it is completely out of left field that they use the Nemesis coat.
Oh, yes,
and I assume it's because they just decided last minute, oh, yeah, we will film this scene after all. Put Todd Stashwick in something we've already got.
Yeah. Like,
Arg!
Yeah. In that regards, it's like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, but I can see where Jake's confusion is coming from. There is a vague color scheme similarity.
He should have been wearing the Balance of Terror helmet is what he.
Yes.
But then you wouldn't see the head
Ooh.
V or the ears.
That's true.
And we'd be like, "Who's this guy?"
Well, we're still like, who's this guy? Like, most of
what it
us
should have
didn't
been?
even recognize him.
So they played the same thing that they played in Redemption 1, where they start the conversation and he's in shadow, and then he walks forward, and we see that it's a Romulan.
And it's
So
Sela.
really, it should have just been Sela. That would have been the ultimate.
I was
Son of a
also
bitch.
thinking it would have been great if it was Sela. It's like, you telling me Denise Crosby isn't itching for work? Come on.
Mm.
Yeah, if every Romulan plot throughout history has just turned out to be Sela, including the temporal Cold War.
Yeah, no, Sela-
Time Daddy will be revealed to be Sela.
Sela got her hands on a time machine, and that's why everything is the way it is. This
And
is the
Braxton
best
is
idea
screaming
ever.
in space.
No, Braxton's part of it.
Ooh.
Again, it's part of his
Team
big
up.
scheme. He's like, if the Federation never happens, Janeway can't exist and ruin my life. It's like, but Braxton, your whole department would never exist. Good enough!
Chris has got to write this fanfic. This is a good
I
one.
mean, that's basically Anorax, right? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He lived a happy, simple life because Janeway destroyed him retroactively.
Ah, God.
Yeah, so the other little visual reference we get in this episode to, like, other TOS shit is, for some reason, we're using Lirpas all over the place.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
the Lirpas were really stupid.
Yeah.
I didn't get that at all.
Like,
I
they're
assumed
really
they were
small.
ceremonial.
Right,
yeah, they were like tactical Lirpas. They weren't the ceremonial kind. They were like the actual weapon version.
That's
And they
the-
It'd be
sucked.
great for pulling a pizza out of an oven, though.
There you go. I like that. Then you got a pizza at the end.
because it's part of this, like, ancient custom in Amok time, you figure, like, yeah, this was probably kind of more or less a weapon they actually used back in the day, but now it's strictly ceremonial. So to see people actually using one, it's like, it would be like
Goofy.
if a bunch of fucking Renaissance fair people actually showed up with swords.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but then
so
the fans wank.
Is the idea that like regular phasers just don't work in the Forge, and
Yes,
that's why they
but
need
that's
to use
why-
hand weapons?
That's why,
Well, but they also
as
couldn't... Go ahead.
I said last week, guns, gunpowder, they still work. Like, yeah, they're pointless outside of the Forge, but within the Forge, just, I have a gun in my room. We'll
I
kill
have a
Archer
slingshot.
together.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
Or again, just a normal
Yeah, but
fucking knife.
Wasn't there some kind of weird metal detector lightning
Well,
bolt
yeah, you just
system?
don't go near that, though. Like, it's
How do you get
this
the gun through?
very... Well, people...
No, it was only that specific rock
Yeah.
that electrocutes you.
Oh, it's just that one place?
Yeah, that specific ore that magically, like, fucks with metal conveniently.
Yeah, and they just
What an
they
asshole.
showed that it existed early in the episode, just so that later in the episode it could come back to
Oh, yeah, that was great.
electrocute the Vulcan.
That was the
Vulcan's
only
lightning.
metal John had on him, was that random knife? What is the
Apparently.
communicator made out of?
Ornate plastic, and it has to be a magnetic metal, so it's aluminum.
Sure.
I was more worried about, his cock ring, but I'm glad that you mentioned
Yeah.
his communicator.
His Zephram cock ring.
Yeah.
His Zephram cock ring, exactly. It all
I-
comes back to Zephram cock ring.
But yeah, like, Vulcan the planet, like Vulcan the people, just has convenient shit pop up when the story requires it.
Oh, you mean like the random slide in the middle of a cave?
Oh, that was great. That was
It
like
was so
that
dumb.
was like Goonies shit. Yeah,
it
was
looked
stupid.
fun, but
Yeah,
they
no, it
should
was
not have
stupid.
existed naturally.
Here's
Yeah,
what's also
I wanted
dumb.
to take that ride.
For some reason, they decided to film it like, when you do something like that, you film it at like a weird tilty angle to extra emphasize the slide nature of it, but they filmed it practically straight, so it looked like they were just flying. It was like, this is dumb to begin with, and then the director fucked up.
And then they went through a loop-de-loop.
Yeah, seriously, that would have made about as much sense. Fucking Jonathan Archer is Sonic the Hedgehog in this fucking episode.
And he
Gotta
clicked
go
all the
fast.
rings.
Christ.
Also, there was a little bit of fan wankery when Shran
Little
asked
bit?
Suval, "How do you feel?"
How do you feel?
Yeah.
He sure did.
Yeah.
Good
I
stuff.
caught that and I
Good
was
stuff.
annoyed. You know,
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
notice
same.
till this week. I don't know. It must have. Can't even imagine what it must taste like. But they stain the interior of Jeffrey Combs' mouth for this show.
Yeah, they do.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I imagine they just like give him a bunch of like really blue candy.
Jolly
Like, here's
Ranchers.
some Jolly Ranchers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Suck on these.
Yum.
Like, goddamn, that is nuts. I don't know how I never noticed, but this message is more close-ups
It's probably
than
just
usual.
food coloring, though. They probably just like swish around some food coloring in your mouth, and that'll do it.
Yeah, I wonder
I
how...
noticed during the battle that there's a new rule in Star Trek that the color of the phasers of your ship matches the color of your blood. So, like the Vulcans had green phasers, the Andorians had blue phasers, and of course we know the Enterprise has red phasers.
Wow.
Well, that's weird. See, that's where they break, though. Humans always have sort of orangey ones. Like, yes, it's closer to red, but...
Yeah, it's certainly not blue or green, though.
No. Although I think, now I feel like back in the day, before they, like, remastered them, quote-unquote, I feel like the phasers had several different colors over the years in TOS. Like, they...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
they were usually, like, blue or white.
Yeah, it was just, like, whatever color they had on hand to paint onto the cell that day. But they've retroactively been made orange, because I think that... Was it in the movies?
Well, I think the hand phasers in TOS weren't red or orange. They were usually, like, blue or white.
No, I can't remember. But I feel like it was, like, at least with TNG was when human phaser banks became, like, regularly orange. What an exciting conversation. Speaking of...
No, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
I have more shitting on Archer to do.
Oh,
as
that's
is my
always
want.
good.
Because we went back to, and I know the first 2 seasons I complained every freaking week about how Archer's constantly judging T'Pol for her beliefs and all this stuff. And now he's like, I understand Vulcans some more. T'Pol, you should really get into this Cyrenite shit. You should read the Kir'Shara. You should become a Cyrenite like your mom. And T'Pol's like, I can't do this on like flipping a switch, Archer. Fuck you forever, asshole. And I hate the man, and god damn it.
And then Trip gets to be a little weird about it, too.
John,
That might be the next episode. Yeah.
John is the guy that fucking goes to Tibet for a week and comes back a Buddhist.
Yeah, he kind of
I mean,
is.
to be
Probably
fair,
having stolen something important.
He did have Sirach in his brain.
So was
which is a little
Sirach telling
better.
T'Pol to be a Cyrenite?
No,
I kind of wondered
just
if that
Archer.
was the case.
Archer just has he has a bit of him.
I was
Little bit
sad
of
we didn't
Sirach
get
in him.
any more Sirach meetups this episode.
Yeah, that was
He was
weird.
just done.
Yeah, we're done. We're good.
I
Bye,
thought it
guys.
was weird that the guy that took the Katra out of Archer was just some rando.
I was expecting it to be T'Pau.
Well, T'Pau already tried and failed.
Oh,
Who
that's right,
wants
she
to-
did.
Who wants to bet they tried to get Nimoy and he was like, I'm good.
Oof, duh.
Or was Mark Leonard alive at the time? I bet they would have asked both of them.
I
But
think
that
he
would
was
have
dead
like
by now.
that would have really fucked up like timeline stuff like all over the place.
Because
no,
you
he
say
would
it's his
have
grandfather.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been
Could've-
Spock. He would have
yeah,
been
that's dumb.
Spack.
Spack.
Spook.
What?
Spork. Spork is still my favorite. There's got to be a Spork out there.
Non-zero chance.
Yeah, but
Hell,
now
is there
everyone's
not-
also melding all over the place. Like, a season ago, it was taboo, and if you did it, you were shunned from society. And now it's like, everyone's coming out of the woodwork and saying they can meld, and saying, oh, can you cure my Panar syndrome so I stop being a leper to society? And it's like,
Well-
it's like a fucking flick of a switch, like T'Pol was complaining about. God damn it. I
Well,
hate
I mean,
this.
it seems to me like, the melding is just like with the Trill. It's like way more common. And just like everybody just assumes that it's uncommon, so they
And they
don't
hide
talk
it?
about it.
Mm.
It's like,
Like-
oh
like-
yeah, I got,
like
I
Well, or I mean, it's not. It doesn't even have to be uncommon. Like it's fucking illegal. So I mean, you wouldn't be like flaunting it around.
it's like peeing in the shower, right? Like everyone does it, but no one's gonna fess up to it.
Do people deny that?
Jake, you claimed you don't recently.
It's because I'm a liar and I didn't want to be judged.
You son of a bitch.
well,
It's
now
all just pipes.
now all our listener know your secret.
Yeah, here's the, and I know we're not on to next episode yet, but, it's like, oh, it could take years to get the Kir'Shara translated. She is reading it in the next episode. Now, yes, okay. It could be a bit has been translated. She's reading that bit of it.
Hoshi is that good.
But it's
Ah.
like, just fucking fuck Star Trek. Jesus, think things through.
Maybe they just found there was actually a translate button on the Kir'Shara and it was just like set to the default. They just had to change it.
It's like Google, like, oh, this page is in old Vulcan. Do you want it in new Vulcan?
Yeah.
God, just, again, it's all just so obviously like them being like, oh my god, we made the Vulcans pricks. How do we fix this? And that's what
They
this
can just be
three-parter was
pricks.
about.
I'm okay that they're pricks. What I'm not okay with is them not having any motivation all the fucking time.
Yeah, like,
Well, I guess we sort of have gotten our motivation, right? Because Suval is like, Vulcans don't know what to do with the humans. Like, that's your motivation. Like, it's...
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, Soval I've always thought was a consistent character. He's cool. Velas I can't stand. I don't understand this Romulan thing. I don't think we needed it. But then again, if you cut it entirely, then Velas literally has no motivation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the motivation could just simply be power corrupts, which, like, yeah, people, that happens all the time. I don't care how logical you are. It's easy to be like, well, I'm clearly the best to do this because they put me in charge. It's logical I should have more power. Show how...
Or he just finally wants to actually take out the Andorians once and for all.
Yeah, like...
Yeah, I mean, that makes... That actually would make the most sense if it was just, he's a radical anti-Andorianite.
Yeah, an Andorian shit in his lunch one day, and he's like, oh, fuck them forever.
And that's basically... But again, that makes him basically... going back to just Leighton again, because Leighton, that was his motivation, was that he was so anti-Dominion in Changeling that he, had to stage all this fucking bullshit as pretext for doing this major lockdown thing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they were like, oh, if we just make him anti-Andorian, that's just doing Leighton again, and it's the same guy. So maybe we should have a different motive. I don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously all this, too, is set up to that. I know that the plan... Well, I don't know if they were thinking about this yet, but I know at some point they end up considering actually... One of the ideas for what would have been Season 5 was to have the Romulan War. And they were kind of trying to lay some of the groundwork here.
That'd be interesting, but it would be very hard to do considering we still wouldn't be able to see their faces.
Right.
Maybe
like,
the audience could and they couldn't, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll see sort of a hint at what they were planning later in the season, so just stay tuned.
But yeah, so I think that was part of it. Was like they were trying to kind of pull a DS9 and lay some groundwork that ultimately never came to fruition since the show got canceled.
I mean, I know we love DS9 now, but considering that DS9 was not exactly a huge success at the time, it really does speak to the fact that Enterprise is just
trying everything,
winging it.
They were like, let's try what that not so well received Star Trek show did.
I like that they're like, okay, we're really bad at planning anything ahead. Maybe we can plan 3 episodes at a time instead of like our whole show.
Yeah, like T'Pol's mother and husband introduced at the start of the season just so they could then both be gotten rid of a few episodes later. Like, okay.
Well, I personally always assumed that T'Pol had a mother.
Well, yes, but like, yes, having us meet her and all this and being like, oh, she's gonna maybe be a little more, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, why bother having the whole thing with the husband if it's not gonna be a thing anymore anyway?
To make Trip sad. Trip was so sad.
Yeah.
Trip was really sad.
Trip wanted to get his dick wet, and this guy was now standing in his way.
Trip, you've got so many options.
Keeping his dick drier than
Not
Vulcan
that many
itself.
options.
Yeah.
He just has to put himself out there. He's attractive.
There's only 20
and
people on
charming.
this ship.
Well, he shouldn't be dating just on the ship. Like, I don't
No,
know.
wait, there's like, 86 minus, what did we lose, like 12? But
Well,
plus the Makos? How many people are even on the ship anymore?
I assume they've, restocked the crew now that they've been back
Replenished,
to Earth.
Restocked, yikes.
But yeah, they've got a crew of 80-ish.
But we
But
do
how many- but wait,
we
that
do
is-
lose at least one.
That doesn't count. That's a good segue. But how many
But fuck your
Makos are on
segue.
board?
Dozen?
Because they're
20?
not part of the original 84, are they?
Yeah, but they've only got so much room on the ship, so maybe now it's 70 and 10 Mako. Or whatever.
I don't know. Sorry, so what were you saying, Jake?
Yeah. There might be one spare bed now after that following episode because somebody dies.
Trip and T'Pol should fuck in it.
Somebody died from a
they will.
reference, no less.
Well, since you've given me such a lovely segue, episode 2 today is Daedalus, which I'm not really sure why.
Because they flew too close to the sun.
That's Icarus, not Daedalus.
Daedalus was the dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't fly too close to the sun.
Yeah, but
Icarus did.
he lost his son
Oh, yeah.
to this
All right, fair enough.
experiment.
And
Oh, yeah,
Daedalus
fair
is the
enough,
one
got
that
it.
invented the wings.
Right. Well, thank God you guys were here.
You're the classicist.
Yeah, where's your diploma now, Caitlin?
Who the fuck know? I don't know. I haven't seen it since I graduated. How do I know?
Mine's around here somewhere, I think.
Yeah, yours is like, I feel like I actually might know where yours is, but I have no clue where mine is. It's probably at my dad's house. Who fuck knows? What am I going to put that on the wall proudly? Classic Civ. Yeah. Daedalus. So we have visitors, the Ericksons, Dr. Emery Erickson, his daughter Danica Erickson, who Archer apparently used to chase around the yard, which was kind of a cute thing. And made me think of Bridget Jones' Diary. You know, I used to swim around in his paddling pool. I bet you did, you dirty bitch. And they come to Enterprise under false pretenses because they're... Yeah, I know.
Bastards.
Hard to believe. Because they say that they're testing out... They're trying to do some transporter experiment to, like, be able to transport things, like, way further away.
Ooh.
But, in fact, they're trying to rescue Quinn Erickson, who was the son of Emery Erickson, who... disappeared while they were doing their testing. And he was like John's best friend. Also, Chris, Emery actually calls him John. John. So much John.
Well, because he knows him from before he was, Starfleet John. He knew him when he was in
He's
diapers.
secretly Silic.
I guess, like, I just think that Jonathan Archer, like, never went by Jonathan. He's like one of those Christophers that goes by Topher. Like, he went by Athon.
There you go.
Or something. Not really, but so...
Jonathan.
Toyota Thon. But yeah, so, they're being really shady and making alterations to their equipment on board, and Trip is like, Captain, something ain't right. And something ain't right. They do manage to...
ain't right.
They do have to come clean, because they have been caught, and they decide that they're going to try to bring Quinn back, and they do, but he comes back inside out, and then he explodes.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
The end.
Sad face. And then Dr. Erickson is definitely going to prison for this.
Good. So, like...
I don't know, is he? I mean, is John going to tell?
He already did.
Oh.
Yeah, he already did, and apparently there's a novel that establishes Emery goes to jail for the rest of his life. And Archer gets together with Danica, so fuck this novel.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I was waiting for them to get together in this episode.
I was very glad they didn't.
Archer's supposed to be with Captain Ike lady.
Captain, I don't see her anywhere on the ship, you mean? This isn't even hosing different area codes. They're in a different fucking star system. Just saying.
So here's the thing. Was the inspiration for this episode somebody watching that Hoshi episode and being like, oh, we should do that Cyrus Ramsey thing, but as real? And then they were like, but that was just her imagination. So we can't do that. So they're like, okay, we'll just change the name to something else and we'll just do that story.
It's a little bit of that, and it's a little bit of the Ultimate Computer.
Oh, it's a lot of the Ultimate Computer, yeah.
Is there ever a time...
Which one? Remind me which one that one is?
When...
That's the one with
Daystrom.
Daystrom, where he comes on the Enterprise with the new computer, and then it goes crazy and kills everybody.
And the computer could replace the crew because it's so smart. Meanwhile, like transporters that go this far could replace ships and all this thing.
And also, like, it's an older scientist still chasing the, like, thrill of having created something great in his youth, like...
And is a black man, just like Daystrom was. So apparently they're saying something there, too.
Yeah, it's like, is there ever a time a scientist comes on board a Starfleet vessel to do an experiment and it goes right? Because I feel like there was the Ultimate Computer...
Stubbs.
Eventually.
Stubbs' experiment admittedly wasn't bad. It was that Wesley was the bad
scientist in that one.
Johnny fucking I'll improve your warp core was actually a con man, and the work was really being done by his assistant. The one that revealed Wesley was a traveler.
Yeah, the traveler. Yeah.
Like, I just feel like whenever a scientist shows up, something, usually an experiment, but not always, is going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah. Science is bad. We know it.
Also, but let's get to this fucking idiot idea of, like, you could replace Starfleet with transporters. No. Because you want to be able to go to a planet and study it at length. And you don't want to just appear on the surface if you don't know anything about it. You still want a ship there first to look at it, establish if it's safe to go there, and then maybe, if you're going to do a long-term experiment, you want a ship in orbit with labs and stuff.
I mean, this is really
and
just
guns.
the Iconian gateways.
Yeah.
Is what he was promising.
Yeah, and, like, don't get me wrong. For the sake of, like, it would make Starfleet's life easier Because then every time some diplomat needed to go somewhere, they wouldn't need to ferry them. But you'd still
Yeah, that's what it could
need-
really replace, is the
Yeah.
constant transport. Especially transport of goods, I think, would be a great use of this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
would-
I don't think it would totally replace Starfleet, but I
No.
think, yeah, if you could just like beam shit light years away, then you could save a lot on gas. It would certainly make like Mayweather's family
Oh, yeah.
obsolete.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
they-
they'd be so
they-
sad.
They are in the streets now. Yeah, no, like it would revolutionize that. It would free up a lot of time for Starfleet. Again, they wouldn't be ferrying people. They wouldn't be, when relief supplies are needed somewhere. Holy shit, they are just shove them through the magic emery door. Like, but you're still going to want and need Starfleet. Also because transporters can't fight a war. I know that's not like Starfleet's raison
You
d'etre,
transport the bomb onto the other person's ship.
unless they got shields.
Planet.
But oh god,
Planetary
oh, god.
shields.
Oh god. But yeah, like again, it's not Starfleet's first order of business is not war, but like if the Klingons find out you've completely dismantled your fleet for the transporter thing, they're like, well, fucking kapla, motherfucker, and they show up at your doorstep.
Yeah. Yeah, you just beam them away then. Beam their whole ship somewhere else.
Oh, no!
I love the idea of a bunch of Klingons landing on a planet and then it's being beamed back to their ship, looking really fucking confused. Like,
Straight into the sun.
Why doesn't anybody do that when when a boarding party beams on board? Just beam them back immediately.
yeah, it's a good point.
You have to time it well, because I'm sure it will be like, shields up, shields down,
Yeah,
up, down,
yeah.
real quick. So that's why my
Beam
into
them-
the sun,
beam them into
I think, is the
space.
best.
Yeah. Well, see, that's inhumane.
Yeah, but if there's a boarding party on your ship and the transporters are working, there should not be a boarding party on your ship.
No, that is true. I mean, at the very least, beam them into the brig.
Yeah.
You don't want to kill
Citation
them.
ops.
Even the Klingons just love a whale too much to be angry. What else from this fucking nonsense?
Yeah, so I'm curious what you guys thought of Emery. Sadly, I just realized that Bill Cobbs, who played Emery
Just
Erickson, died last month.
Yeah, like a few weeks ago.
And God, he's like in his IMDb just scrolls forever and ever and a day. But I don't know if I liked him in this.
He basically, from the things that I've seen him in, he more or less typically plays the same kind of character in every one, where it's like the wise old man guy.
I wonder if that it's telegraphed from literally when we first mentioned, like, Quinn was lost in a transporter accident, that things are going to go bad concerning this Quinn thing.
See, that's the problem.
That
Is
we
I
always-
remembered.
Say again?
I remembered that was the point of this episode, and
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was like the first time watching
Like,
it.
I wonder if it needed to be like revealed in a better way. Like, if we didn't see earlier, like, oh, they're up to something. If it was just came later that we realized they're up to something. But also, like, the scene in which we're trying to get Quinn onto the transporter pad, jumping to the end, as I tend to do. I expected and kind of wanted it to be that kind of like Data in The Offspring trying to save Lal. But Emery is doing nothing? He's just telling Trip what to do, but he's not doing anything?
Like, that's the problem. It's like how they couldn't actually really show Data doing what he was doing, because it would have, let's be honest, looked silly. So they had to have the guy describe it.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to do, I've come up with these things that, I need someone else to do because I don't know this console super well. Yeah. They wanted it to be the same thing, kind of, but it's a little weird. It's a huge difference when it's just like, try this, try that, try.
Yeah, well, like, he should be there jamming buttons and freaking out. Like, I have to save him. Instead, he's like, Trip, try this. Trip, how about another thing? It's like, you're giving all the action to Trip, who doesn't care about this character at all.
Yeah,
Yeah, I also thought, I don't know, I was mostly bored for this episode. There's this aspect of it that they tried to do where, like, Trip has such a hard on for meeting Emery at the start, where he's like, oh my god, we're gonna meet Emery Erickson.
I read his
Yeehaw.
book. Yeehaw.
Which, like, that timeline doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Because, like, in the first episode, they were making it feel like the transporter was still pretty new. Like, it'd been around for a while. It had just been okayed for human transport in, like, extreme circumstances. But you still had the impression that the transporter in general hadn't been around that super long. So him being like, I read about it as a kid and that made me want to be an engineer. And you're just like, oh, so this has been around longer than I thought.
Well, I also imagine though that like with any new technology like that, it may have taken a long time for it to become like they may have.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they used it only to transport
it wasn't
barrels.
viable.
Like they transported things that weren't alive forever and ever, because those things you can't. If you fuck up a barrel, there's only so much wrong you can do. But if you fuck up a person,
no, we saw it.
Vulcans apparently also have it. Now I wonder if the Vulcan transporters are based on the Ericsson design, or if Vulcans just had their own transporters first. And because that's the thing, like, you know, I think I tried to say this about Cochrane at one point, where it's like, like Cochrane's achievement is only an achievement for like humans, but like everybody else in the galaxy already has warp. So it's, in context, it's not quite that impressive. And the same thing with Emery, where it's like, okay, if transporters are just a thing that everybody has. Now, if it's something that's super novel and he is just like a singular genius, then that's really cool. And that like, you know, the Vulcans were so impressed by it, now they have them and they use them.
Well, I think, like you said, I think the thing that makes the most sense with Cochrane is there's something unique about the Cochrane warp drive that even like everyone else that ends up in what will be the Federation is like, yeah, no, that's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
But I think transporters maybe, although I don't know, like even though he says this sub-quantum teleportation or whatever is a pipe dream, he still manages with that first experiment to transport something way further than anyone else apparently ever has, at least among humanity. So he does seem to have a special knack for transporters. But considering none of the parts of the transporter in the future seem to be named after him, maybe his achievements in transporter technology are less novel than Zephram Cochrane's warp realizations or something.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, and it could just be that, you know, just, you know, going back to Daystrom, where it's like, okay, he made he invented this thing and it was really impressive and everyone loves it, but what's he gonna do next? You know, and like that was sort of what Daystrom was doing, was he invented duotronics.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of just chasing that achievement for the rest of his career without really having another massive hit like that. And he was hoping that the M5 would be that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to go back too far into the last episode, but did you guys realize, so Andorians now have transporters because they swipe Soval out of nowhere, straight into the torture chair. Kinky. Great job, Shran. But apparently, I read in various places that it had been established previously that Andorians don't have transporter technology. So, whoops.
No, they got good spies.
They enrolled Dr. Erickson and...
Well, that's the thing. Like, transporter technology, you know, I think we may have mentioned this way back in the day on Voyager, but, like, at least in the early days, and the parts of the Delta Quadrant Voyager was in the first couple seasons, like, transporters weren't super common. Like, some people always seemed surprised when people would beam in. People with, you know, starships and warp drive and all that, but then they'd beam in and they'd be like, what the fuck? So, like, they're like, transporters are not as stumbled upon as warp drive seems to be.
Yeah, well, because it's just such an insane thing.
Yeah.
I like that there was a little bit of a wink in this episode when Emery was talking about how people are always giving him shit about whether people are questioning whether it's the same person or a copy, and you know, it's basically articulating all of the common fan.
This was in that dinner scene?
Yeah.
That dinner scene.
Yeah.
It was so boring. Okay. It was such a boring discussion. Boring. I remember the first I watched this episode was for our transporter accident blogtivity, which you should check out on the blog at Tumblr. Do it now. And I remember liking it well enough, and now rewatching it, I'm like, yeah, it's really boring. Like, that whole dinner scene was just shot in, like, you know, over the shoulder, like everyone, like anyone talks like one at a time. We flip to the next guy, talk one at a time, and it's just this very dull, long conversation filmed in the most static way possible. And I'm thinking, there's got to be a better way to have filmed this. But then you look at the room that they're in, and it's the size of a closet. Why?
Okay. I'm gonna pull a Jake and fix this episode.
Do it.
Do it.
It's not gonna be as good as Jake's because I'm just coming up with this now. But step 1 to improving this whole fucking mess: no duplicity.
Duplicity?
Yeah, they show up under false pretenses.
Oh, that kind of duplicity.
You should have just been straight from the beginning.
You say duplicity and I think multiplicity. I'm like,
Ah.
I hear duplicity and I think Gul Dukat.
No duplicity. It actually starts maybe with, we don't even start, we start with Emery talking to like a board of admirals or something, begging for their help. He thinks he can get his son back and just like, fuck off. So he calls up John, his old friend John's like, John, please, your words carry weight. And John has to go back. But now, John's other surrogate dad, Admiral, oh my God. Forrest isn't there anymore.
He has so many dads.
Yeah, Admiral Forrest isn't there. So, like, even though he's, hero John Archer that saved us from the Zindi, there's still just kind of like his main person isn't there. And this could also be a story dealing with, the consequences of Admiral Forrest's death. Like,
which we'll never hear of again, I'm certain.
The balance of everything in Starfleet's a little different now. And they're just like, and they're like, look, Vulcan is topsy-turvy. We don't know what's going to happen. Who knows if this latest thing with the Andorians might end up blowing up down the line, even though they're all like, we don't have the time to spare to send you off to do some guy. So more of the story could be about John trying to find a way to help his friend and maybe even considering, like, should I just steal the ship in classic Star Trek fashion? And
can I wear a cool cape while doing so?
Yeah. He doesn't deserve a cool fucking cape.
Not this man.
And so the story can be about that, and maybe him again, finally eventually convincing them somehow, because we can't have him just steal the ship, because, or who knows, maybe...
And then it's more of a debate when they actually lose a crew member to this of, are we doing what's right?
Yeah.
Instead of, it probably won't happen again. Let's try some more.
Yeah, or maybe, like, Starfleet doesn't resist at first. When John shows up, it's like, hey, I'm John. And they're like, fuck, we owe you.
Put your pants on, John.
But then maybe when that first crew member dies, the new admirals are like, whoa, okay, come back. And he's like, but it was just one fuck up. It's like, yeah, but this is getting silly. And then again, the not having Admiral Forrest there is now, because in the past, John just would have gone, Dad! And he would have gone, okay. Just something. Because yes, it's like, not enough happened for one episode in this episode. And like, I don't know. There's so many, the idea of Emery is really interesting. And what happened is interesting, but the exploration was a failure.
Maybe needed more of a B plot, because I think the only B plot we have is T'Pol saying, no, Trip, I won't be fucking you again.
Yeah.
And that is a bad B
Which
plot.
is sad.
Because I think we all wanted it.
Yeah, it's like, come on, T'Pol.
Oh,
it's right
but
there.
Yes, the guy that was...
She's lying. She wants it.
The guy that was killed by a reference.
What do you mean by that?
So...
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
The crewman who was killed, whose, like, face was melted... They said it was almost like he was exposed to a big burst of Delta radiation. The same radiation that melts Pike's face.
Oh.
They really are just fucking hot and heavy with the goddamn references this season.
It did kind of have the same appearance, the melty face look.
Yep, they couldn't just kill him. They had to make it a tie-in. Like,
Man,
really?
I don't even think I saw that reference anywhere listed.
Well, Chris, get thee to Memory Alpha.
Yeah,
and,
hop on there.
Add your notation.
Yeah, the thing, I was also annoyed in this episode about how Archer goes back to yelling at everybody, Archer.
Oh my God,
when he's trying to, when he's basically ordering Trip to go along with the crazy plan.
Like, even the plan that's really only there because Archer knows this man, and he's like, no, I'm doing it for what's right and for science. And it's like, no, you're doing this to get Quinn back.
Yeah,
that's it.
Like, if he didn't even have to yell. He could have just said right to Trip, like, Trip, you, like Trip was saying to Paul in this episode. It could have fucking dovetailed. Like, the guy's trying to get back someone he loved and cared about. You should get that. And Trip could go, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, with his sister. Yeah, would have been way better. God,
Which
because
again-
they brought up his sister earlier in the episode.
In the episode with T'Pol!
Son of a bitch, missed opportunity.
Again!
And then Trip and Danica could have got together because they could bond over their, mutual love and missing of their lost siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
And then Trip would be getting his dick wet, which would make us happy.
I mean, I am grateful, that they didn't just have this woman be token love interest for somebody. I was really afraid it was going to be for John. She was a woman who just got to be a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's just
Well,
there. No one's
We
trying
can't
to fuck
have
her.
that.
And she's struggling with her own issue of the week, which is, how long can I care for my dad? How long do I have to deal with this? I want my own life.
Yeah.
No, but getting back to the Archer thing, I like playing this little game with myself when I'm watching Enterprise, and that's picture any of our other Starfleet captains delivering the same lines in the same scene, and how they would have done it without yelling at the top of their lungs at their crew people.
Mm.
And it's like, yeah. I mean, Kirk, he could get stern, but he wouldn't yell at them. And Picard, he could get, diplomatic and righteous, but he wouldn't just yell at people.
Picard is the captain who he's not mad, he's just disappointed.
Which is better than yelling.
Yes.
Cisco would have yelled, but he also would have then killed them. So,
No, he would have then apologized.
yes. Somebody would have showed him a baby and he would have totally changed demeanor.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Cisco doesn't yell. Cisco does that, scary, quiet voice.
Mm.
He is very good at that.
Yeah. Janeway would just give you this look and your heart would stop.
Yeah. Janeway would have ordered the self-destruct of the ship.
So here's my question then. So we're trying to save Quinn, which no one seems to realize is what we're actually here for. Quinn, I think, has been listed as dead, I guess.
Yeah, he was assumed lost in
a transporter experiment. And yet no one puts together this is Quinn until they see his face.
And they do a classic early 2000s enhance.
Yes, right? Enhance more.
That really dates this episode. This is the epitome of early fucking CSI, You just say enhance into a computer.
Now zoom in. Zoom in on quadrant 1A.
And
now enhance.
Um,
Increase saturation.
Well, I don't know. I mean, do people assume that you can survive as a subspace ghost?
I wouldn't.
Or is this yeah, exactly. I would assume that, they're in this weird part of space and there's some crazy shit going on.
Well, I love... Sorry, go ahead. But yeah.
I was just going to say, so the assumption might just be that there's anomalies, but not until they realize that, all these anomalies seem to coincide with the transporter experiment. So,
That's the other thing, too. John is the first time it happens, he goes to Emery to, something's up. You must know something. And he's like, it's reasonable for him to go, John, it's space. Space is weird.
Yeah.
I didn't encounter anything like this. I mean, this area is fucking
did.
huge.
But Enterprise has encountered these kinds of things all over the place.
Constantly. You spent a whole season just dealing with them. You're the expert, ass fuck. Oh, also, another thing that doesn't make any fucking sense about Trip being enamored of this guy is Trip's an engine guy. You'd think if he fell in love with engineering because of Emery, he'd be a transporter guy. But as
this is all engineering is the same. It falls under the same umbrella, and all sciences are the same.
Yeah, which actually this made
more
me
than
realize.
One?
Yeah, that did make me realize though. Really, if transporters made any sense, they would always be manned by someone from. All transporters should have two people at all times: a physicist and an engineer.
Yeah.
The engineer for when the mechanical part breaks, and the physicist for when shit goes fucky. But it just fell under engineering.
Nope, all engineers are physicists, you see, Chris.
That's right, I forgot.
Yeah, so I was somewhat expecting Quinn to be saved, but for Emery to have to sacrifice himself to do it.
Oh, weird.
That, I guess, would have been the more sort of cliche way of doing this.
Oh.
So the fact that Emery that Quinn just dies is, I guess, a little surprising.
I mean, it's a very sad scene shot in a nicely sad way.
Yeah,
kind of, but like the whole like forgive me, and he's just like and dies. I was like, I don't know. I felt like that interaction was a little weird.
Well, it didn't seem like Quinn had any consciousness while he was a transporter monster.
Luckily, yeah.
No, I'm sure he had no idea what was going on.
So
well,
for him, for his experience of it is, I go into the transporter, came out of the transporter, and died.
And Dad looks old for some
in a matter
reason.
of seconds.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, my dad is old. Also, was there an implication that the reason Emery was in a wheelchair was because of a transporter?
They never say, I don't think.
Well, also, he stands up an awful lot.
Well,
he might not be totally paralyzed. He might just have, some...
Well, I would say not,
issues.
since he stands up so much.
When they lift his shirt, like, his back is all twisted and weird. Like, I think he got
delta radiated.
Yeah, so he got fucked up a little in like, he had a non-fatal transporter accident happen to him.
Yeah, and he even says at one point, like, "Oh, I know better than most how dangerous this thing can be." And he's either talking about Quinn, but Quinn hadn't been introduced at that point in the episode, or he's talking about himself and his injury.
Since they never say, I'm going to assume he fell down some stairs.
Well, no, he did say too, though, that he was like, the first human through a transporter.
Yeah, but they didn't say that after that his back was never the same.
Well,
he
no,
said,
but
I vomited and then got drunk.
But there may have been another experiment later where he was the subject. And
well, they never say, so I'm not going to believe it.
I think it was strongly, I think, implied that his injury is the result of a transporter.
Mm. Yeah. I did think every single time they were showing, Emery wheeling about, damn, this ship is not at all accessible, because it's like, how did they get him off the transporter platform? They show him in his quarters and they zoom over to the door, which is one of those porthole doors you have to step over. And it's like, how are they getting this man around this ship?
Even in Melora, they made it a point to show that they were installing
little ramps.
Well, and she fell out of her chair and shit anyway.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, to your point, I think what they could have done if they really wanted it to be like a sacrifice for Quinn, it could have been like, there's cellular degradation and this and that. We can't do it. He's like, what about my cells? I'm dying anyway. And they kind of not like fully Tuvix him, but like they kind of like somehow merge. Like they both come out of it, but then Quinn stays alive and he dies in Quinn's arms. Like they somehow transporter donate cells.
Yeah, there's a good episode in here somewhere. I think the constant telegraphing and just the kind of sluggish pace that it had. Maybe it needed a B plot, I don't know. Something to just make it more dynamic.
Yeah. It again, I don't remember what it was like for me the first time, but going in knowing what's happening this time, it's just like, yep, let's go. Time is ticking.
You know what they could have done to make it a sacrifice for Emery would be pull a Realm of Fear and have it so that like he can see Quinn when he's in the transporter, and he has to like grab him out or something. I don't know, like what Barkley had to do with the weird fish head monster things.
Fish head monster things. I think Jake is splicing episodes together.
The poops that Barkley had to hug to rescue.
Yeah, but they weren't fish head monster things.
But they were kind of they had like mouths. They were monsterish.
So you say fish head monster things, and I think the Antidians.
Yeah, not like that.
God, what a handsome race.
They were like floating turds with mouths.
Like in my nightmares.
Man, when is one of the new Treks gonna bring them back, but like actually make the makeup work?
I wouldn't be surprised if you see them in somewhere in Lower Decks.
That's a good point. Where's the Antidians?
That goes without saying, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you see every single race somewhere in like a background scene in Lower Decks.
Yeah. So I know Tom Paris has a cameo in Lower Decks. Does Harry Kim have a cameo in Lower Decks?
Is that wow? That's a great segue, Jake.
That is actually a good segue.
No,
I think it's good.
Not that I'm aware of.
It's terrible segue.
Although I do remember that they were toying with was it Picard? Somewhere They're like, oh, yes, and we're going to see Captain Harry Kim. And I fucking groaned.
And everybody laughed. They were like, just kidding.
Yeah, Garrett Wong would be happy, but the rest of us would be like, this is, or rather, I would be like, this is fan service. The rest of the fans would probably like be very happy about it.
Yeah, I could see that being a big squee.
My fanfic is the perfect future for Harry Kim. Jumping
Harry Kim
between
fanfic? That's a good one.
timelines, saving the day.
He's just a saxophone star now. He's so cool.
And actually,
do I have my list? Where's my list? There.
Yep, there are in fact 3 appearances of the Antidians in Lower Decks.
There you go.
Jesus Christ, 3, damn.
And supposedly they show up briefly in a very short trek, but I don't remember seeing them.
Yeah, those just are all a blur. They were terrible.
Yeah, they were bad. Anyway, Harry.
Harry's good.
Harold.
He's better than the Antidians anyway. I don't remember who the Antidians are.
They were fish head monster people.
The ones that
a
Worf
very
said
handsome
were,
race.
Yes.
Okay, I'll start Harry Kim.
Yes, we've
Go for it.
segued so smoothly, you see, into our character spots.
Yeah, I actually. So like, here's the thing. There's not a ton that like Harry Kim like there's like he has some great moments, but so much of Voyager is the torturing of Harry Kim.
Oh yeah, he's the O'Brien of Voyager.
Yeah. That it's like, I couldn't think of, I was having trouble thinking of good moments where he did something good versus just like, oh yeah, remember that time when this bad thing happened to Harry when he, got turned into species 8472 or whatever the fuck was happening there. Anyway, I did come up with a few moments that I want to give a special call out for.
Go for it.
I'm gonna say, breaking the shit out of the temporal prime directive and saving Voyager in Timeless.
Ooh.
After his mistake led to it being
I was gonna say
that's but nevertheless he did spend the rest of his life at that point trying to chase it down and fix it, so good on him.
And he looked great.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this isn't so much a great thing he did. I mean, I guess in the end it was good, but it didn't take a lot of effort on his part, and he was sort of ordered to do it anyway. But that's saving Naomi Wildman from being blown up with the rest of Voyager in Deadlock.
That's a good one. And that's why he's the one person who's from a different timeline.
Well, him and Naomi Wildman,
yeah.
they can share that.
Cute.
And that's why he's able to jump universes so easily in my story.
Exactly.
Because he's out of temporal sync.
But I think this is the top one. I didn't put it at the list in any order, but now that I'm thinking about it, this is definitely the top Harry Kim moment. And that is giving up the dorky-ass clarinet for that big willy energy of the saxophone.
Jake, why did you steal 2/3 of my list? What the fuck? That's literally on my list.
Go for it then. It's your turn.
But did you use big willy energy? Because I did.
No, I was gonna say lead guitar energy, because before the electric guitar was a thing, the saxophone player was the guy whose dick you sucked at the end of the show.
Well, there you go.
So I was also going to say giving up clarinet for saxophone. And I also said going back in time to fix the shit that he broke and killed everybody with in timelines.
Yay, timeless.
Timeless, yeah, sorry. And the other one, well, I mean, I guess it's not necessarily successful, but he tries to stand up for, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. He tries to go and live his life with his girlfriend that he's in love with, in spite of Janeway having lots and lots of problems with that.
Oh.
He ultimately doesn't, of course, but he tries.
This isn't the disease?
Yeah.
Where Jane was like, no banging aliens, Harry. And Harry's like, oh.
And Harry's like, literally everyone else gets to.
But you're our special, special boy.
That's so awful. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks. Not a good moment for Janeway, but
Harry
tries to stand up for what he believes and loves. Yeah, he tried, And it was nice, too, because, we see him fail over and over and over and over and over again with all kinds of people.
So I'm going to do a different time Harry had to fuck with time, and that's in Non Sequitur, where he could have just been like, well, fuck it, I guess I get to live on Earth, screw everyone else, and he's like, no, I'm supposed to be the one trapped out there, and oh god, look at how awful my friend Tom's life is because he's not out there. I guess I should go back. In The Killing Game, he leads a little, quiet rebellion against the Hirogen.
I wrote your name as Chair again, Chris.
Fair enough.
Okay, your name is just Chair now.
Works for me.
I'm sorry, could you say whatever you just said again? Because I lost it when I wrote chair.
Working on the outside of the holodecks against the Hirogen to free the crew in the killing game.
Yes, that is a good one.
And this is one I completely forgot about until I read it, but I was like, oh yeah, that episode. When a sentient warhead takes over the Doctor, and he convinces the sentient warhead that it's sentient now and doesn't just have to follow orders in Warhead.
Yep. I had forgotten about that too, but I also came across it while making my list.
Yeah, and then he convinces it to go to kind of, kill itself. Well, I mean, I guess it decides on its own.
Yeah, it does it on its own. But
he's, and he has a sad about it because he was friends.
Yeah, he was friends with the
That's
bomb.
good, because this is good for padding out the list, because a lot of mine were very stupid little moments, like the cute little yes in Threshold when Tom goes past the fork 10 barrier.
Oh,
Lots
yeah.
of just stupid little annoying things. But I got a couple other good ones that are worth putting on the list. The first being how much he stood up for Tom in the shoot when Tom had gotten stabbed at some point.
Yep.
And Harry keeps Tom alive for quite a while. He keeps anyone else from killing him, which they sure wanted to do.
Yep.
And granted, yes, and he feels so bad that, all the clamp shit that was messing with their brains made him, snap at him. But Tom's line at the end of something to the effect of, all I remember is someone saying, this is my friend and you don't hurt my friend, I love them together. And it was an episode that kind of cements their little friendship bond, and I love them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great Tom and Harry moment, one of many throughout the show. Oh boy,
Goddamn, curse them for calling them Tom and Harry. I only just realized how fucking stupid that is.
And they're both dicks.
Names nails it. Nice.
All right, I need 2 more. Shit. The rest of mine are stupid.
You're like, that's all I had.
Here's one, because why not? Keeping fear from overtaking him in The Thaw.
Fair enough.
When that clown is torturing the fuck out of him, and
But he does get turned into an old man and a baby.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he can't stop it from
That's not
doing
his
that
fault,
stuff.
I mean.
But yeah.
But he stayed strong throughout until the rest of the crew were able to save his dumb ass. But, he was fine. Last one, actually, here's a really good one. I think this was Dark Frontier, but it was one of the Borgie ones, if it wasn't this particular one. One of the Borgie episodes. It is revealed that Harry Kim beams a bomb onto a Borg cube like a badass.
We were just talking about that.
When?
Beaming bombs.
Beaming bombs
Oh,
places.
beaming bombs, yes, and Harry's already perfected it, so just do what
Yep.
Harry does.
Yep, the Harry Kim maneuver.
Also, your alliteration was beautiful, Ames.
Buh.
Beam a bomb onto a Borg ship.
Boom.
Let me give a quick honorable
Boom,
mention.
indeed.
In Deadlock, when he's saving Naomi, he does a cute little forward roll to get out of the way of some Vidian fire, and I love it.
I forgot
So
about
good
that.
for him.
Good
His
going,
little
Harry.
roll.
How'd he fuck up, Jake?
Tell us bad things. Bad things Harry has done.
Okay, so this isn't so much his fault. In fact, it's not his fault at all.
But we're going to blame him anyway.
But
Definitely
we're going
his
to blame him
fault.
anyway. We're going to blame the victim again. When he turns into an alien in Favorite Son,
Wow.
No, God.
and actually is ready to go live with these fucking alien people.
Well, they were going to give him,
until
in
he
his
realizes-
defense, they're going to give him 2 women. I mean,
Yeah,
3.
Well, until
Oh, 3.
he realizes, oh shit, these are just sirens, and fuck.
He still thought about it for a second.
but yeah,
He
I was going
did-
to say,
he
but
did-
what a way to go, you know?
Yeah. Well, he's never gonna see his beloved what's her face again. So
Libby?
Libby.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, that should be a bad moment.
I think that's on
Libby.
my list somewhere.
The
Yeah.
bad
yeah.
moment is whoever cast the woman that played Libby.
Anyway,
Yeah,
that's
I
Libby is
managed
not on
to-
my list. I will say almost getting taken advantage of by Quark, despite being specifically warned about Ferengi at the Academy.
See,
By
I'd
the
argue.
racist Academy.
I'd argue if anything, it's just him being like, wow, the Academy's racist, and ignoring that. Good for him, says me.
Yes, he's like, oh, this. I'm sure these are legitimate fucking sex crystals or whatever Quark was trying to tell him they were.
J.O. crystals.
I feel like
Um,
racism aside, you can just tell Quark is not an honest man.
True. Thank God for Tom to
Yeah.
be there to make sure he wasn't a dum dum.
Yeah, they were already best friends.
But yeah, so speaking of best friends, this is a pretty fucked up thing that Harry does or will do or would have done. I guess he doesn't actually do it because circumstances changed. But marrying Tom and Kess's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking gross.
I like them together, though.
Yeah, I like
but
them
still,
together, but it's gross.
It's fucking gross that Harry marries his best friend's daughter.
Who he babysat.
Who's like a child anyway.
She's fully grown.
No,
Yeah,
I know,
whatever.
but it's still weird
Oh
to
God,
like...
not this argument again.
Okay.
This
even
argument
if you,
forever.
even if you excuse like the Neelix thing by saying that, okay, well, she's fully grown by Ocampa standards. The fact that Harry was present for her birth and helped raise her, Shirley, that is creepy.
That's what makes
That is creepy.
The fact that he was involved in her rearing makes it weird in a way
Yeah,
I can't
definitely.
deal
You can't.
with.
It's like why
That's
you
like-
can't marry your ward. It's just not right.
It's like
Lots of
that's
people
like
do.
what is that?
Yeah, but it's
Woody
disgusting.
Allen?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's-
Mia Farrow's daughter or whatever.
mm-hmm.
Well, they've
I
already
give
had-
Harry the
fucking
benefit of
gross,
the
too.
doubt.
Fair
Not
enough.
me, baby. Not me, baby. It honestly, in a way, it tracks perfectly for Harry because he like has no success with women his own age. So of course, he's gonna groom himself in Ocampin.
Ugh. Anyway,
No,
what
that's
do
not
you...
Harry. That's not the character, though.
I know.
Anyway, what did
He
you
does.
dislike?
He does have dreadful luck with women, though.
He does. Is any of that on your list?
Who, me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're next.
Oh, is it my turn?
It is.
He falls in love with a hologram.
Yeah.
The fuck, dude?
Well, so does Tuvok.
So
Yeah,
does
but he falls
Janeway.
really hard with this hologram.
True.
So much so that he asks Tuvok to help him purge all emotion. It's like,
Yeah.
Harry, it's a hologram, girl. You'll get over
But here's the thing, though. She wasn't actually a hologram.
He
She was
didn't know
actually
that.
a sexy lady.
He does later date one of the Irish town holograms, though.
That's true.
Is that
But
on
again,
Caitlin's
so
list,
does,
too?
so does Janeway.
No. Two things, I guess, actually. Both, they're related. The first thing is that he makes everything fucking awkward with Seven of Nine all the
Yeah,
time.
I hated all
all
of
the
that.
time, all the time.
And even when she offers to bang him,
No, come on!
he
Jake,
freaks out
this
and
is
runs
my
away.
List. Jake, this is my list! I was gonna say the third thing was that he didn't have sex with her when she offered. You fucking jerk.
I'm sorry. I thought I didn't realize they were both going to be.
He made
my
everything
bad.
weird after not getting the thing he supposedly wants. That's all I got. Harry Kim. And as a third actually serious thing, yeah, he goes back and fixes it in Timeless or whatever, but he fucked it up to begin with. So,
True that.
so we'll just call the Seven of Nine things same half of two sides to the same coin. I
Yeah,
guess.
One of two.
I'll probably lump them in the blog.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's basically the same shit. That's
So-
it. That's all I got.
So, Ames, I know you like it when something's on both lists.
I do.
I'm gonna say wiping out an entire timeline to save his friends in Timeless. How many countless lives did he irrevocably alter by doing this?
Yeah, we
big
don't know
time.
those guys though. Who cares? We don't know those people.
Chakotay gives up his girlfriend for this.
Yeah, whatever. He gets to date 7 and 9 later. He's fine.
His inability to just be a goddamn adult around 7 in Revulsion. To the point that he tries to get off the project with her in the end because he feels weird, and Chakotay's like, be an adult.
Yep.
And Captain Harry Kim in Nightingale. What a dick.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
What a dick.
He shit the bed, my
They
man.
mutinied immediately.
I have a dishonorable mention, but I want to make sure it's not on Ames' list first.
Let's find out, because I stupidly didn't put these in an order, so I have to kind of pick through which ones I want to talk about. Let's go with... Oh, that's a stupid one.
You gotta tell us what that one was later.
She's just looking through. Oh, Harry, you fucking idiot! Like,
Okay, here it is. I don't know if I'll find a good screen grab, because there isn't really a screen grab for this. In The Cloud, which was like season 1, early season 1, he claims to remember being in the womb.
oh, get out of here,
Which is
Harry.
just-
Nobody's
What
impressed.
the actual fuck, Harry? That's not a thing. You're insane. Get
You
the
know-
fuck out.
You know what that was, though? My dishonorable mention, so I'm glad I didn't say it.
Oh shit! No way.
Yes!
Like, you
Wow.
fucking liar, Harry. You're a liar.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing, and what a stupid thing to lie about. Like, we all know you're lying. No one believes you. No one thinks you're cool. That's just bullshit.
Oh, here's an actual good bad moment. Because
That was a fine bad moment.
This one I fucking can't stand. In Workforce, while everyone else is off, Chakotay and Neelix are off trying to save the rest of the crew from Workforce Planet, EMH and Harry are just having this dick measuring contest of who can come up with the best plan for something.
Yeah.
And EMH
right.
refuses to give over control as the ECH, even though Chakotay's right there, next in fucking line in the chain of command. And the two of them are just fucking babies, and I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I need one more, and it's gonna be... I don't want to just say Libby. Libby is terrible. But I'm gonna give it to, okay, what the hell was his plan in Emanations? Because he just decides, I'll get killed off in this cocoon thing, get beamed over to the Voyager, which he didn't even realize was good, he didn't know was definitely a sure thing, and they'll save my life. Weird, Harry. That's a real roll of the dice, and wow, you did it.
Yeah, that is definitely a side effect that, I mean, admittedly, we see this in a lot of fiction and a lot of Star Trek, but that is a character being aware they have plot armor.
Yeah, it's like, I'll definitely be saved. Like, Chakotay did the same thing in Initiations with Carden, when it's like, Car, just kill me so you can get the second syllable of your name, and everyone's like, you want me to kill you now? Okay, Code White, son of a bitch, weird people.
Yep. Well, that's our special little boy.
Oh,
And
our
that
clarinetting,
has been
saxophoning boy. He's so cool.
episode 259 of A Star to Steer Her By. Thank you for joining
did you say
us.
259?
Oh,
359. Jesus Christmas.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, 259 was what, DS9 or TNG or something? Anyway.
300 years ago?
A
2 years ago,
long-ass time
literally?
ago. So thank you for joining us. Next week, we continue our just tedious march through the end of Enterprise with Observer Effect and Babel 1. Is this another multi-parter, or are these actually two standalones?
Observer Effect is a standalone. Babel 1 is the start of our next 3-part arc.
Jiminy
Ugh.
fuckmas. So yeah, look forward to that idiocy. And next week's Spotlight is on none other than the EMH, ECH,
Kenneth.
what are the 38 fucking names he had?
Schmullus.
Schmullus.
Oh,
That's
Schmullus.
a fun name, Schmullus. I love saying that. So that'll be fun.
Oh, I love saying it. I don't know why it just gave me big, like, Mr. Fish odor. Like, I love the fog under my cloak.
Yeah. So, yeah, join us for that. Follow us on the Facebook and the SoundCloud and your favorite podcasting application, and, of course, the Tumblr, sshbpodcast.com, where our character things go and our fanfics and a few other random things. I think that's all of it. This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
This has been Caitlin.
And this is always Schmullus.
Hey.
Oh, I should have called myself Chair again. Fuck.
Share! I did write it one more time at some point. Oh, there's a doggy.
Call forward.
Is that the one that was making all the noise?
No.
Oh, she's so tiny.
Yeah,
Look
she
at that
is.
little head.
Yeah, she's
I wanna squeeze it.
little head, huge bitch.
Ditto.
Yeah, same.
I'm gonna
Right?
keep this in the episode just so I can
Well,
call the episode
see-
"Little Head, Huge Bitch."
Weird flex, Chris.
Weird flex, yeah. I was gonna say same, but I don't have a little head. Big head.
Little pointy ears like a Vulcan.
You a Vulcan, boo boo?
Yeah, probably more of a Romulan.
Are you a Romulan, boo boo? Her plans are often convoluted and make no sense.
Sounds accurate.